Welcome to the Shekina Meditation Podcast, created by Shekina community members. Shekina communities are dedicated to creating free devotional spaces of Christian practice for spiritual seekers and travelers around the world. We post Christ-centered guided meditation each week to help you in your personal or small group practice. You can find episode show notes and other information at shekinacommunity.com.
Hello, this is Ro.
This is Ray.
And it's week 53 of the podcast. It's Sunday, the 27th of October as we record this. And we're standing around in the garden at the end of a long day of community lunch.
Community lunch. What did we do today? What happened today during community lunch?
Well, there was a long blackout, a long power cut all morning and most of the afternoon.
Right.
Which was challenging when usually we're cooking our rice in big rice cookers
that use electricity.
And I wanted to make salsa in a blender. Cannot.
No. So you chopped all the salsa.
Yes, hand chopping. Chop, chop, chop.
And it was delicious.
Thank you.
It was amazing.
I had lots
Even
of
if you had
helpers.
salsa cramps.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we did. Erica helped me do lots of chopping. Lily and Caleb both took pots of rice to their houses. We cooked next door. It was a really group effort today. I was very thankful for all the helpers.
I'm thankful for them too, because it was delicious.
It was pretty good in the end.
Listeners, this podcast is supported by you. Because this podcast is about meditation, we want to keep it ad-free. Our beloved patrons at patreon.com support us for as little as $1 a month. And patrons get extra audio every month. You can find us at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast.
And another way that you can support us is by rating or reviewing on iTunes. Or you could email the podcast to a friend or tell the whole world. Supporting this podcast helps to keep Shekina communities running and free for travelers and spiritual seekers. And it helps us know that you appreciate what we're doing in putting this little podcast out into the world. Patrons, you're the best. You are like that moment when the fans come back on after a power cut on a hot day.
Yeah, when air's just been still, you've been sitting and sweating, and suddenly the fans come back on.
Ah, relief.
And it's like the air moves, cools the sweat from your brow.
Everyone celebrates. That's what you're like, patrons.
That's what you are like, that moment. Thank you so much. So we had a busy week,
Tell
as
us.
usual.
Yeah.
We had a devotion circle, and we talked a little bit about control and trust, like feeling out of control, what that feels like, and what it feels like to trust.
That's a good one.
How to do that, how to learn how to let go of control and trust God. So that was a good discussion. We also did some meditation. We talked about our rhythms. We're having good talks right now about what to keep, what to work on, how to adjust things to make things the best possible that they could be, as far as the whole hope for this place is that people come here and they have an opportunity to dig further into understanding who Jesus is.
Yeah.
And so everything we have is around that. So we're always trying to figure that out. What are the best ways to invite and to make things open and free and honest and good?
Oh, I like all those words.
Yeah. And and then there was also some welding this week again, a little welding workshop.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Crafternoon,
Yeah.
a juggle jam. Lots of good things. Gardening, you and I.
We did.
We laid some bricks.
We did. We are nearly finished. Dear
It's
listeners,
so close.
you've been hearing us talk about this the whole time that we've ever been doing this podcast. And we were, oh my gosh, we're going to celebrate. We're nearly there. We're going to celebrate when we are done. We ran out of sand. We're almost out of bricks. We just need to go to the hardware store and buy a little bit more stuff. Probably one more day with a couple of us doing it. It'll be done.
Yeah, it's so funny because it was super hot.
Yeah.
And it was still like one of the highlights of my week.
Yeah,
I think,
seriously.
sitting there with you and Josh and being bricklayers together.
Yeah, it was a good day.
It's a good day. So today's episode is an imagination meditation. Ro leads it. She guides it. It's on Jesus in the temple when he gets a little upset. In John 2, verses 13 to 22. So Ro will guide you through it. It's imagination, so that means you use all your senses, all your imagination, and it is recorded at the garden here in Pai, Thailand. The meditation will have 3 parts. First, Ro will guide you through some exercises as normal to help you find that quiet place in your mind that's away from all the other busy stuff that you do. And then she will guide you with some questions to help you imagine the scene as she goes through the verses or the phrases.
Yeah, I really encourage you just to let your imagination go crazy. Look around you, what can you see? And maybe put yourself as a fly on the wall, or imagine you're one of the characters that's in the story. Nothing's off limits. Pretend you're an animal in there. It doesn't matter. Just play with perspective and play with your imagination, and really see what you can see and hear as you look around as the story happens.
Awesome.
It's pretty fun. Then the third part of the meditation, that's all about processing. So you might like to journal some thoughts if you've been meditating by yourself, or if you're meditating with others, you might like to pass a talking stick or another object around the circle and just give each person an opportunity to share from their experience. Really not taking time to teach each other, but just sharing what happened for you and listening well to each other, not interrupting or correcting, and let each person have a turn of sharing. Let's begin. So let's begin just by finding a comfortable position and closing our eyes. We don't need to keep the same position for the whole meditation, but at least to begin with, it's good to just help settle our body. So let's try to have a straight spine so that we can breathe easily and clearly. And let's just take a moment to arrive here this morning. Just letting our focus be on our breath, noticing the inhalation and exhalation. Just paying attention to all the different sensations in our body as we breathe. The movement of our belly, the feeling of the wind in our nostrils, just noticing each sensation, paying full attention to it. As we begin to settle our bodies, I just offer a welcome to you today. Whatever your path is, however you're feeling today, whatever is your thoughts around Christ, you're welcome in this space and you're welcome to this meditation. As we breathe, we're just going to relax our bodies. Just trying to notice if there's any part of our body where we're feeling any tension, and just letting that part of our body relax on each exhalation, just as much as is possible. No need to force your body into any positions. Perhaps your hips or your shoulders or your neck.
Just letting those parts of your body relax and release a little. As you breathe, just letting stillness and quietness come to your body. There's no rules about staying still, but let's just have a moment where our bodies are a little more quiet. As we still and quieten our bodies, let's also turn our attention inward to what's happening in our thoughts. Let's just pay attention to our thoughts for a moment, not judging them, but just noticing what's happening in our minds. If this image works for you, you might like to imagine your thoughts as clouds, just sort of drifting by in the sky. You can notice each one as it comes along, see it, notice it, and then notice it drift by again. These thoughts don't need to trouble us or worry us. We can just let them pass by. You might like to imagine that the clouds are slowly floating further and further away. Bit by bit, the sky above you is clearing. And soon all that is above you is just clear sky. It's normal during the meditation for thoughts to come in again and distract us. That's fine. We don't need to judge ourselves when that happens. But you might like to imagine again this clear sky and the cloud just floating away, not troubling you during this time of meditation. We're going to move on now to the imagination part of our meditation. And I just welcome you to put yourself in this story. We're traveling over vast distances of time and space, back to the time of Christ, in the city of Jerusalem. It's around the time of the feast of Passover, and there are many, many pilgrims coming to visit Jerusalem for this festival. 300 or 400,000 people would come at this time of year to visit the city. We're standing just inside the temple on the top of the mountain in Jerusalem. You're in the area called the Court of the Gentiles, which is an outer area of the temple where all the people who aren't of Jewish descent can come and worship God. A place for people of all nations to come and connect with the divine. And during this busy festival season, there are many people streaming in and out. Take a moment to wander and look around. What can you see and hear? It was nearly time for the Jewish Passover celebration, so Jesus went to Jerusalem. In the temple area, he saw merchants selling cattle, sheep, and doves for sacrifices. He also saw dealers at tables exchanging foreign money. What do you feel looking around and seeing this happen? Have you experienced a busy marketplace as a foreigner before? Have you experienced trying to exchange your money, wondering if you're getting a good deal or not? In the temple area, he saw merchants selling cattle, sheep, and doves for sacrifices. He also saw dealers at tables exchanging foreign money. Jesus made a whip from some ropes and chased them all out of the temple. He drove out the sheep and the cattle. He scattered the money changers' coins over the floor and turned over their tables. What can you hear? What do you feel? He drove out the sheep and cattle, scattered the money changers' coins over the floor, and turned over their tables. Then, going over to the people who sold doves, he told them, "Get these things out of here. Stop turning my Father's house into a marketplace." What do you see? In the Jewish law, doves were being sold for sacrifice to the poorest of the poor, those who couldn't afford a sheep or a cow. These people selling doves were selling to the poorest. Some translations of this scripture add at exorbitant prices. How does this make you feel as you watch? Then going over to the people who sold doves, he told them, "Get these things out of here. Stop turning my Father's house into a marketplace." Then his disciples remembered this prophecy from the scriptures. "Passion for God's house will consume me." Then his disciples remembered this prophecy from the scriptures. Passion for God's house will consume me. But the Jewish leaders demanded, "What are you doing? If God gave you authority to do this, show us a miraculous sign to prove it." What do you see? But the Jewish leaders demanded, "What are you doing? If God gave you authority to do this, show us a miraculous sign to prove it." "All right," Jesus replied. "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." "What?" they exclaimed. "It has taken 46 years to build this temple, and you can rebuild it in 3 days?" But when Jesus said, "this temple," he meant his own body. What do you hear? What do you feel? All right, Jesus replied. Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. What? They exclaimed. It has taken 46 years to build this temple, and you can rebuild it in 3 days? But when Jesus said, this temple, he meant his own body. After he was raised from the dead, his disciples remembered he had said this, and they believed both the scriptures and what Jesus had said. It's some time later now, and the sound and movement has died down, and you notice Jesus by himself somewhere quiet. There's opportunity for you to approach him and talk. If you'd like to, you can approach this man who is safe, who has kind eyes. Is there a question that you would ask Jesus in this moment? Or is there something you would say to him? It's time to slowly return from our place of meditation. Take our time coming back to the here and now, to this circle. When we're ready, we'll move on to our talking circle. And we'll know we're all ready when we're all seated with our eyes open.
Thank you for joining today. There will be a new guided meditation available each week, so don't forget to subscribe to iTunes or sign up for our newsletter to get podcasts delivered to your inbox at www.shekinacommunity.com/podcast newsletter. Also, you can rate or review on iTunes or sign up as a patron at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast. Have a beautiful week. Many blessings to you.